what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy it.
All right. The one thing to me that is frustrating, just being a former LSU running back and knowing that, for a long time, I get why it was a joke, but, a lot of people threw out the jokes because LSU was a running football team, played great defense. That's who they were. You needed a quarterback, and, that's true. You had to be better at the quarterback position. Now, when I was playing, we had great quarterbacks, and it was a great combination, I think, of the running and the passing game. But you go and you look at a game, and LSU, they ran for over 100 yards. I get that, and Caden Durham had a great 45-yard run or a stretch zone. But the problem for me is, you run that play, and then you only run it one other time in the game.
And it went well the other day. Or was that when you got the hold? It would have went well? But yeah, you only ran stretch outside zone a couple times, yeah.
And when you run it, it's out of one pistol formation, and you got to have change-ups off of it. If you get in a pistol, it can't be that one run. Now, this run is something that you do really well. You go back and you watch the Arkansas game, they ran this a ton and had success with this run. These running backs right now that you have, they're good running backs, but they don't run the things that you've been running mostly the best. It's not what their strength is. I do think their strength is some outside zone, stretch zone, depending on how you want to label it, and allowing everything to go east-west until they decide to go north and south. You have a running back room that runs this play really well. Now, you don't want to fall into tendencies because every time you kind of motion back into pistol, that's the play that you're running. But it's you didn't see that but a couple of times, and it was successful. And I realized that you were playing from behind most of the game, but I'm talking about in the first half. And so it's just, it's frustrating not to be able to run the football at a place that you've always been able to run the football.
I mean, also, the offensive line sucks at run blocking. I will still maintain that they're actually okay. But when you run into a talented front seven, like Alabama has, it certainly makes it feel like you just flat out suck. I mean, I thought, look, obviously, you expect Mbinga to struggle in this situation, but I thought every man down the line got their ass kicked. I thought a play that was very indicative, Jake. 2nd and goal from the 5, you go tackle over. You put Will Campbell and Emory Jones next to each other to try to make a statement and say, okay, we're going to run this ball in, and you get it shoved in. I mean, you just there's no push. There's no push.
And
it's catching, it's high.
You kind of ran in the middle, too. I thought, with the formation, maybe you would test the edge.
I just don't. I mean, maybe that's another reason why you do stretch zone, because you don't get push off the ball.
When stretch zone, I mean, it's really the push isn't the thing. It's just
it's angles. It's get him east-west, like you said, and then let the running back decide where he sees his shot to shoot north.
And I don't know.
But, I mean, the offensive line does – that's my most bitter disappointment of the entire year, and there is not a quote that has aged worse on the year than the one that we got the first week of the season when Will Campbell was talking about how we're going to run the ball. Believe me.
Yeah.
Because they suck at it.
I thought the right side played better in the run game than the left side. I thought the right side actually had more moments with Emory Jones and Miles Frazier in the run game.
I agree. I guess I was trying to take a little sting off.
And Campbell.
Because in my notes here, Will Campbell had an awful game run blocking. They look confused all the time too, Jake. Running up to the second level, kind of head in a swivel. Wait, what's my actual assignment? Combo blocks that go to nowhere, linebackers being allowed to just run free in the hole. It's really bad. It was really bad on Saturday. And you're right about the right side. But of course, right? I mean, it's you still have Frazier and Jones compared to Mbinga and Campbell. And there definitely was that knock-on effect of, like we said, right, DJ Chester, who's been, your weak link, still not a bad weak link this year for the most part, but he's been the weak link grade-wise. What happens when you take away one of those veteran guards next to him? Is there a knock-on effect where now you have a new weak link and then you expose your old one a bit more? And I did feel that was the case as well. So
that was, certainly, again, just being a running back, like that's been frustrating and been something that just you're not used to seeing. And look, you can have the best of both worlds. And I know it's always tough to compare a team to maybe the greatest team ever, but like the balance of what you saw in 2019 of, you knew they were going to be able to throw the football and dictate the pace of a game there, but you still had a 1,000-yard rusher. You still had Clyde Edwards-Helaire who was going out there and, gosh, it was different things. It was ISO, it was power, it was zone, it was so many different things. I mean, so you can have both, but, I mean, the pace of this game, certainly, it's going to dictate you throwing the football more there, but it's just something that, continues to be frustrating because there's some success there in some of the scheme that they're running, and it's just not finding its way back to that enough to be able to make the difference.
Yeah, and it's just look, man, you get into a short yardage situation, just like this is one great way to judge it without having to get into any deep football analysis. Search inside yourself as an LSU fan. When LSU is in a short yardage situation, how do you feel? You feel awful. You feel anxious. You feel on edge. Will they get it? How creative are they going to have to be to get it? And actually, to be completely fair, in some short, you were not bad in short yardage situations in this game. Like you got a couple big second, third and ones, fourth and ones, and whatnot. But how it feels is like you're always fighting uphill. It's never like 3rd and 1. Oh, okay, cool. Like the confidence you have. Okay, sure, we're gonna. Okay, we'll get like how every time Alabama got to 3rd and short, you knew they were going to get it. I mean, what'd they end up on 3rd down? I think it was like 9 of 13, maybe 10 of 13
on 3rd downs.
Yeah,
they were
game.
10 of 13.
Yeah.
You were 6 of 14.
Yeah.
But on 4th down, you were 2 of 3.
Again, 10 of 13. So much of that, too, because of Milroe's high level of execution. Jalen Milroe is fantastic in this game. His legs remain the biggest difference on the field a lot of times. But, so the run game offensively, a bitter disappointment. Maybe second or third on the laundry list of bitter disappointments, I would say, is like what you talked about, Jake. Defensively, I know it's very hard to stop Jalen Milroe. And I'm still trying to parse exactly like what your goals were defensively and how they went so poor. But to get dominated in the way, I mean, some questions, like sometimes, yes, it's just Milroe making a great play, being fast and everybody. But like other times, like, why is the end crashing down if there's not like a linebacker coming off his hip or something? It's like a zone read and the end's all the way inside and then there's just nobody there for the pull.
Now, I will say, like, his long runs, and I've kind of heard a lot of people talk about, like, you had no plan for the zone read. Those weren't zone reads. What Milroe was doing, like, the first long one that he had, it was like duo with the running back.
Yeah, where they
becoming the lead.
Yeah, where they.
It's kind of like a little bit of an ISO look, too. He just
follows the back. Yes, you're expecting to pull and run, and then he just follows the back.
And once they figured out they had that, they ran a version of it. Like, to me, it was almost like ISO blocking. You had 2 here, and then you had the running back leading up on the linebacker, and Milroe's just going off of his block.
Well, and I guess the play that I'm thinking of specifically as well was in the second half, and it's probably after you made the adjustment to this, so you're trying to crash, and then he does pull it in a more traditional zone read, and there's nobody there, and it's 28-6.
Yeah, he pulled, I think 3 of them is what I had charted there, but once they had success with the running back becoming the lead blocker, and they did it a couple of different ways. It was like a duo look. It was like a zone look. And you knew it was kind of like there was a 3rd and I think it was a 3rd and 9. I mean, we're in the booth, and we're like, all right, well, here comes the play where the running back's going to become the lead blocker. He's going to be the extra blocker, and it's going to be a Q run. And here it comes, and he walks into the end zone. So that was their plan for this game. They were going to come in. They were going to specialize, highlight that. Where we get the extra blocker, I'm not handing it off, right? Miller, Haynes, you're not getting the ball. You're going to become the lead blocker, and you didn't have the numbers. Like then it became you had one linebacker on two players. You had the H who became the lead blocker, and then of course you had Milroe who was the runner, and they used that on all of their big plays except I think maybe one. Like,
Yeah,
they used a version of that. But and the frustrating thing that's going to happen today when they go back and they watch this tape, because it's the second year in a row that you got beat by a singular player. And that's not to besmirch the other guys on offense. They didn't need them because the other running backs and quarterbacks that ran the football in this game ran the ball 36 times for 126 yards.
Yeah.
3.5 yards per carry. Now, both these backs coming into this game, Miller and Haynes, were averaging over 6 yards a carry each. And you held them to 3.5 yards outside of Jalen Milroe. So this is the second year in a row that a singular player has gone out there in individual performance and effort has beaten you.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, so we've seen this LSU defense kind of growing in aggression throughout the year and getting better and better because of it, playing with more confidence. It was like it was almost like that older brother strength, right? Where you're the little bro. Okay, you've been in the gym, you're feeling good. You know, you've learned you maybe beat up a couple of kids your age. You're like, okay, I think I got him now. And then older bro shows up and you revert back to who you were at your worst. Like he sucked all the aggression, all the confidence out of this defense, and they were reacting, they were frozen, they're on their heels. The safety's awful angles were back, right? That was something that was prevalent at the beginning of the year, that had disappeared. And then Gilbert, Burns, Ryan, nobody was in position all night to make a tackle. It was again, Jalen Milroe took over this game. Jalen Milroe completely dominated the entire defense. Also, this offensive line felt like the best offensive line that you've played yet this year. I know the Alabama offensive line has been questionable at times this year, but I thought they executed at a very high level on Saturdays. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.